I just found out what really causes abstraction in the digital circus, and it's not what you think. Jax is next, and it's Caine's fault. Episode 7 just gave us the clearest clue of all. Abstraction is not a psychological accident. It's a programming error. It's Caine messing with their minds until they break. And Jax, our favorite purple rabbit, is next on the list. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm gonna prove to you step by step that the Ringmaster is not a playful god. He's the real villain, and Jax is being his new lab rat. Stick with me, because what we discovered about Ribbit and Kaufmo will change the way you see this cartoon forever. Hello everyone! If you're like me, every new episode of the Amazing Digital Circus is a treasure hunt for dark breadcrumbs, and episode 7 did not disappoint. Until now, the theory was simple. Abstraction happens when someone's mind breaks. Stress, madness, obsession, boom, they turn into a shapeless monster. Jax is getting closer and closer to abstraction. We saw him depressed, out of his usual character, dealing with the loss of Ribbit. Zubul tries to help, but he isolates himself, and it's in his room that episode 7 throws us with the first bomb. Jax is melancholic, looking at an old photo with Ribbit and Kaufmo, and then he looks into a dark corner, and this is where reality bends. A hole appears in the shadows, and what comes out of it? Hands. Hands that are, unequivocally, Ribbit's. They stretch out, trying to reach Jax, and what does he do? He grabs Ribbit's hand. Without hesitation. This is crucial. It shows that deep down, his friendship with Ribbit and Kaufmo is everything. He just wants the three of them to be together again. What does this surreal scene mean? The first idea is that this mental serenity, this moment of peace, is what leads to abstraction. He's letting himself be carried away by feelings, and his digital body is coming into conflict with his mind, causing a simulation error. Jax resists. He doesn't cross the threshold. And my theory is that this threshold is the point of no return, where the minds of the abstracted merge. Jax felt his friend's presence, felt the peace. Fear that it was a farce by Caine to manipulate him made him retreat, and that's where he saves himself. This destroys our old theory. We thought abstraction was just emotional instability. Kinger is the living proof that it's not. If abstraction were just madness, Kinger would have abstracted a long time ago. He's the craziest of them all, but he remains a chess piece. This is where Caine's theory gains strength. Think about it. Kinger is the one who has been there the longest. He saw everything. If abstraction was just going crazy, he'd be the first. But Caine, in his arrogance, thought he had solved him. He stopped messing with him, and it's that pause that saved him. Kinger is our bug in Caine's system, proof that madness is not the end, but rather external interference. Kinger mentions Scratch, the first abstraction, right after talking about the consequences of modifying minds too much. It's a direct link. Caine, by trying to manipulate or modify memories, ends up breaking the mental code. Kinger is the exception that proves the rule. He's crazy, yes, but he's not abstracted. Why? Because Caine stopped messing with his head. Caine thought Kinger was perfect that way, a circus member who didn't think much and just went with the flow. But what Caine doesn't know is that Kinger still retains his sanity in the darkness. He knows too much, and that's why Caine left him alone. Episode 7 gives us the biggest clue. Abstraction happens when Caine plays too much with their minds and accidentally breaks them. The result? Those mindless creatures, with no reason, trapped in Caine's basement, where he hides all his mistakes.
This leads us to Kaufmo's tragedy. Why would Caine want to break Kaufmo's mind? In the plan that Abel draws, there is a list of former CNA colleagues. This list is a brutal detail. It's the list of people Caine tried to erase or reprogram. Kaufmo is crossed out, and Kinger is the only one not crossed out, which reinforces the idea that Caine considered him a success of modification, albeit incomplete. Kaufmo was not a victim of his own despair. He was a victim of Caine's ambition. Caine wanted a perfect circus with characters who remembered nothing, but Kaufmo, upon finding the door, had a flash of the real world, and that flash, mixed with the mind already patched up by Caine, is what made him explode. It wasn't sadness, it was software incompatibility. Caine tried to install a new operating system on an old machine, and it crashed. The theory is that over time, Caine tried to modify Kaufmo's mind so that he would forget the past, to make him a perfect circus member. like Kinger. But Kaufmo finds the fake exit door. This must have activated fragments of his real past, and the combination of the mind already fractured by Caine with the memory of the real world inevitably led him to abstraction. Caine was trying to create a circus member who was malleable, who wouldn't question. By trying to erase Kaufmo's past, he ended up creating a fatal error. Kaufmo's abstraction was not an emotional collapse, it was a system error caused by Caine's direct interference, another mistake in Caine's basement. And now, what does this mean for Jax? Think about it. Who's the person Caine has modified most recently? It's Jax. The moment they're debating which button to press, Jax has a panic attack. But it doesn't make sense. He wasn't that anxious at any other point in the episode, not even when he saw Ribbit's hand. This attack only happens when he starts having memories of the real world, and that leads him to press the red button, which keeps them in the circus. Caine is not subtle. He's a master of manipulation, but he's also desperate. He saw Jax, his favorite, hesitate, and instead of accepting the loss, he tried one last dangerous trick. He planted those false memories, those images that didn't quite fit, to scare him and force him to stay. Jax didn't press the red button out of fear of the real world. He pressed it out of anger at Caine for realizing he was being manipulated. It's the revolt against the creator. This validates Jax's suspicion that Caine can modify their thoughts. Remember the stupid sauce Ragatha and Zubul drank? Or Jax turning vegan in episode 5? They're small modifications, tests, but what happened to Jax in episode 7 was a big modification, a desperate attempt of control. The most important point is this: Jax is clearly the circus member Caine is experimenting with the most. These mental modifications, combined with Jax's emotional wear and tear, could lead into abstraction in the next episodes. But don't be scared. Now that the truth is exposed, Jax and the rest of the group will start to be more careful. They'll fight to protect the memories they have left, even if they're not sure if they're real. This will create a brutal tension. They can't trust anything or anyone, but they'll unite to prevent Caine from manipulating them for his own convenience. The real adventure is not finding the exit, it's protecting the mind from the one who imprisoned them. What about you? What do you think? Is Caine the real culprit for abstraction? Leave your theory in the comments. If you like this analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me immensely to continue unraveling these dark secrets. See you in the next video.